Typhoon Maysak continues to intensify here on Sunday night, heading into Monday morning in the Western Pacific. If you are on Okinawa, you need to be prepared for the impacts from a rather strong to severe typhoon here, passing the island in the forecast at this time as a Category 4 system. That is no joke. Actually, in the core of the winds could be upwards about 150 to 120 knots, and the latest track from JTWC does edge it closer to Okinawa Honto. That's the main island of Okinawa. So in this update today, I do want to talk about some of the impacts you can be expecting from this, and also first let's dive into why we do anticipate that rapid intensification here. And for starters, take a look at the winds aloft. That is flowing towards the north and towards the south. Now, this is way above our heads, not the surface winds, but basically you have to imagine these tropical systems like engines. They have the flow coming in from the bottom, it moves up, and then there's outflow aloft. When you see this dual channel outflow towards the north and towards the south, that tells me that this does have big lungs to continue to breathe here. On top of that, take a look at sea surface temperatures. This is 30 to 31, 32 degrees Celsius. That is just fuel for a fire. That's throwing gasoline on a bonfire and watching it blow up here, especially where it's sitting right now. That is extremely warm, and that is why we do expect this to continue to rapidly intensify into a max about 120, gusting 145 knots. Now, I'm not trying to scare you if you're out here on Okinawa. I just want you to realize that this is going to be a pretty potent storm system. Now, hopefully, fingers crossed, the core of the winds, that inner core, you can actually see that here on microwave imagery through those upper level clouds that Cirrus shield. That is where the core of these sustained winds are going to be. But based on everything I'm seeing right now, there actually is a pretty large wind field on this. Why? If you're new to the Joint Typhoon Warning Center's warnings, that circle, basically this outer ring right here, that's indicating tropical storm strength winds, which encompass all of the island of Okinawa Honto, even up there towards Mamishima, just towards the north and east. I mean, that is a very large wind field, and this is even indicating that 50 knot threshold over southern areas of Okinawa. So if you are military, T-Core 1 very well likely here by Monday night and throughout the day on Tuesday as this passes on by. Let's take a look at some of the guidance though. Via tropicaltidbits.com, showing the HWRF on Maysak here, and it does continue to pull it in from the southeast and then moving just along the southern areas of the island. This would put the highest population in this particular situation in the core of these winds, which is why, I mean, that would be a blow to the highest population of the island. And in Naha here, this would definitely be worst case scenario if the HWRF came to pass. I do want to show you the high resolution JMA model. Of course, is a model designed by the Japanese government to focus here on Japan. That's Okinawa on the right of this. This passes by. This shows as you go ahead through midnight here on Tuesday, and then by 1 a.m., 2 a.m., passing just south of Okinawa Honto, closer to Miyakojima, actually. This would be a better situation with the HWRF is putting out, but it does continue to show these max winds. I mean, upwards of 20 to 30 meters per second. That's over 100-mile-per-hour gust on the southern areas of the island. So there's a big difference if this just wavers a few miles. I've said this over and over and over and over again for the last few days. Considering the fact the ensemble is not as tight as I would like it to be, you have to be ready for either typhoon strength conditions on a Cat 1 scale or upwards of a Cat 3 to 4 scale. It's actually the latest warning from the Japan Meteorological Agency. I did translate it, kind of a more English favorable graphic here, but heavy rain. I mean, this could be severe, 10 to 12 inches. That is close to what we've seen with Bobby in some of these areas. Storm surge, I put moderate. Now, storm surge is not typically a problem, especially since this is coming in from the southeast, much rockier coast, but low-lying areas still could see about a 6 to 7 foot rise in the tides, and wind damage gust upwards of about 150 miles per hour, according to the Japan Meteorological Agency. That's about 40 to 50 meters per second. Zoned out for most of this update. These are the key things I want you to take away. Likely to become a Cat 4, still a large wind field on this storm system. So even if it passes off the island, you're still going to get impacted by some sort of wind. And track is pretty confident it should pass towards the southwest of Okinawa, but I mean, close enough to cause problems. So sure, all those light objects are secure. Park your car downwind of any buildings. That would be on the northwestern and northern side of large buildings. That would be the smartest option. Try not to be in an area where winds can get funneled either. And make sure you charge all your batteries. And the number one thing, I said this for the last few days, for the love of God, be smart, be smart, be smart, be smart. And what I mean by that is stay inside. Don't be the person that ventures out and gets smacked in the head by a flying piece of wood or debris, or that's where people get injured. Too often you hear that. Too often you hear people getting their fingers pinched in doors because they were opening up trying to film or something like that. And then too often do we hear people getting washed out to sea because they were taking pictures or trying to fish in this insanity. A storm decides to pass Okinawa here. By the way, I am continuing to watch this move off towards the north because Busan very well could get hit by this storm system as well. I don't have a lot of people that watch from Busan, but I know it's a very large population here. So definitely they could, this is a fourth storm to hit the Korean Peninsula this year. And then eventually, look at that. If we get a typhoon hitting Vladivostok, which shows right here, Vladivostok, Russia, I wonder how rare that is. Russia getting hit by a typhoon just seems out of place. Anyways, that's all for now, guys. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please let me know. I'm going to try to have another update in about 12 hours or so. I'll try to keep these going, especially for those of you who are getting ready here on your Monday as winds start to pick up and that storm gets a little bit closer. I'll fine-tune this forecast because I know that it's pretty close to what we are expecting, but there is still a tiny bit of uncertainty. But the key thing is that typhoon conditions are going to hit. I mean, I would be surprised if none of the island doesn't get hit by 60 to 70 knot winds. I would be blown away. Now, above that, it gets exponentially worse if the winds continue to increase. But 60, 70 knots can relocate your K car, for example, or at least move it and definitely cause debris to fly and cause some damage. So, yeah, be smart. That's I can't. You're watching this video and you're still watching 7 minutes in of me rambling. You're probably not the dumbest person in the world. So, yeah. All right, guys, stay safe out there. And as always, thanks for watching.